future champion. Touchdown, Alabama! Villanova! Phenomenal!
Here comes the storm. Can you hear it? 100,000 strong. Can you taste it? On the tip of your tongue. Are you ready? Let's get it on. The time is now. No one should be still. Get loud. Make your mama proud.
Unbelievable! Oh my goodness! For the championship! Please to come as good as it gets.
Hello, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel. Welcome to Inside College Basketball, presented by Progressive Insurance. As the countdown to Selection Sunday continues, we have a great triple header for you today. In the first Big Ten semifinal of the day, it's Michigan and Minnesota. That's followed by Northwestern against number 24 Wisconsin in semi number 2. And later, it's the top 2 seeds in the Mountain West Championship game. Colorado State takes on Nevada. And for the next 30 hours, this right here may be the most closely watched room in the country. The NCAA Selection Committee evaluating candidates from every conference, piecing together the puzzle that is the 68-team tournament field. Selection Sunday is right around the corner. If you include tomorrow, then that means Clark right around the corner. Joining me for the weekend, my desk mates Clark Kellogg and Seth Davis. I believe it was November the 11th that the basketball season began, and this is the day, this is the weekend that everybody's been pointing to.
No question about it. Selection Sunday Eve. Not quite as good as Christmas Eve, but close for those of us that love college basketball. And at my count, now as we go into this very busy day, 13 AQs are going to be determined, 13 automatic qualifiers. I look at 4 conferences, Seth. The American, Conference USA, Atlantic 10, and SEC as the only conferences that potentially could contract the bubble by stealing a bid.
Well, first of all, I thought this was the most closely watched room in America this weekend, so maybe I was...
You thought wrong.
I did think wrong, as I usually do up here. To your point, I hear people talking about, oh, this is the weakest bubble, and this bubble is terrible. Let me tell you something, folks. This is the best bubble I've seen in a long time, maybe in my 14 years doing this. When you're talking about a team like Syracuse, with all those great wins, 6 wins against teams ranked in the top 50 of the RPI, all of them are at home, so they're probably going to be left out. When you're talking about a quality team like California, a team like Illinois State, which played Wichita State tough in the Missouri Valley, only 2 top 100 wins, both of them at home, being left out of the tournament. What we've seen this week with these mid-major conferences, a lot of the favorites are winning. We're not having a lot of bid stealers. It's a very, very strong bubble.
And I've got a sneaky suspicion. I know historically the bracketologist, and after perfunctory consultation with you and JP, I think we're going to see something maybe off the radar from what the committee has done in the past. You know, my favorite saying is simply that history repeats itself until it doesn't, and I think we might have some interesting wrinkles as we...
So I'm on solid ground when I say you guys are anticipating tomorrow. That's good, right?
Yes, we are. Very much so.
Last night, conference tournament action was nonstop, and the guys are going to take us through the highlights right now. Seton Hall, Villanova.
Here we go, trailing by 1. Villanova's Chris Jenkins misses the shot, but there's Josh Hart, National Player of the Year candidate, with the putback, and he made the free throw. Up 2 are the Wildcats. Angel Delgado, one of the nation's best double-double guys, misses an easy one, and Villanova grabs the Big East Conference Tournament Championship, anchoring in perhaps on that overall #1 seed, Seth.
And look at that sportsmanship showed by Josh Hart. I want everybody to remember that when we talk about another game in a little bit. You want to talk about taking care of bidness? Vanderbilt did just that for the 3rd time this season, beating Florida. Don't tell me about no bubble, because Vanderbilt has scanned their ticket into the dance, as Clark likes to say. They're in.
Justin Jackson going to splash this 3 for the Tar Heels. Put them up 10 at that point. They had a 13-point lead early in the second half, but here come the Blue Devils. They found their mojo. That's Grayson Allen splashing the 3. Then he penetrates and pitches to Frank Jackson. And from 13 down, the Blue Devils win by 10. What a turnaround. This team hitting its stride at the right time.
And we were all looking forward to the suspense down to the wire. Would Northwestern get its first ever NCAA tournament bid? Well, the Wildcats ruined everybody's fun by taking doubt out of the equation. This win over Maryland, and they get to advance to the Big Ten semifinals today. How about it? Now, I referenced this earlier about Josh Hart. This is UCLA in Arizona. There's that man right there. Lonzo Ball jammed his thumb in the first half. Wasn't really effective. Lowry Markkanen has not shot the ball well, but he hates rims. Finishing the alley-oop. As you see there, taking the pass from Kadeem Allen. At the end of the game, Sean Miller calls timeout with 0.9 seconds left because Steve Alford did the same in Tucson. You can see Alford, you can read his lips there saying that he was just trying to set his defense in Tucson. Sean Miller going for a little bit of revenge there, tempting the basketball gods there. You wonder sometimes when the grown-ups, which ones are the grown-ups and which ones are the kids, but that was a nice win for Arizona. All
right, let's have a look at the teams already in the NCAA tournament. As you take a look at this list, Clark, who draws your attention?
Not terribly surprised by these teams advancing, but when you talk about putting together an upset portfolio for your bracket, you better include FGCU. The Florida Gulf Coast Eagles have plenty of ammunition to make a run in the tournament. They've got size and athleticism up front. Mark-Eddie Morelia and Brandon Goodwin, one of the outstanding backcourt players in the country. And we've seen these guys make noise before in the tournament. Different crew, but under Joe Dooley, this team is one that you want to keep an eye on next week.
Well, I'm surprised that Duke is playing for the ACC Tournament Championship, given the way they've been playing the last couple weeks, everything Duke has been through. And as Clark knows, I've been peeling a little onion this morning. I'm just trying to explain to somebody or get someone to explain to me why North Carolina is considered a lock for a #1 seed. When you look at this information here, Clark, first of all, the number of losses is relatively close. Duke has one more loss. North Carolina had the better conference record, but RPI wins over the top 50. First of all, Duke beat North Carolina twice. That should count for a lot. And look at the number of wins away from home against the top 25 of the RPI. Duke has 5. And if they beat Notre Dame tonight, that would be 6 wins against the top 25 of the RPI away from home. And just as a point of context, Arizona has 5 top 50 wins. Oregon has 4 top 50 wins. So Duke would have more top 25 wins away from home than those guys would have against the entire top 50 of the RPI. Who's the 1, who's the 2, however you want to slice it or dice it. I don't see an argument right now for North Carolina to be ahead of Duke.
All right. I'm still reeling from bidness. Serious?
Bidness, yeah.
That was nice. I liked it, Seth. Don't pay attention to him.
A lot more still to come on Inside College Basketball, presented by Progressive. We'll break down the Big Ten's tournament chances, lock, stock, and bubble. Plus, a look back at Michigan's turbulent and improbable road to today's matchup with Minnesota. Inside College Basketball, presented by Progressive Insurance, is sponsored by Progressive, making it easy to bundle your home and car insurance.
Be the first to know. Is your team in and where will they go? The NCAA Basketball Championship Selection Show. Tomorrow on CBS.
15 seconds remain in regulation. Michigan down 2. Hesitates, now drives, hop step, scoops and scores! The Wolverines keep rolling on Big Ten Tournament weekend.
Thrilled for these kids because we are, they came here on a mission to win this championship, and we're one day closer.
Welcome back, everyone. That is Minnesota's Nate Mason. He leads the Golden Gophers in scoring, averaging just over 15 a game. The junior guard getting ready for the matchup against his counterparts from Michigan. That would be senior guard Derek Walton Jr., who leads the Wolverines at just under 15 a game. Coming up at the top of the hour, it's Michigan and Minnesota in the first Big Ten semifinal. And the fact that the Wolverines are one game away from playing in the conference championship is a testament to the entire program. What a wild 72 hours it's been. Started Wednesday afternoon. Due to high winds, the team's plane skidded down the runway during an aborted takeoff. Thankfully, no injuries serious, but the team was unable to get to D.C. for the Big Ten tournament until Thursday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, a mere 3 hours before their quarterfinal game with Illinois. The tip was delayed by 28 minutes, and then Michigan went on to an improbable 20-point win. forced to wear practice jerseys since their game uniforms did not make the trip. Roughly 24 hours later, the Wolverines pulled off another upset, knocking off the #1 seed Purdue in overtime. Tracy Wolfson is with Michigan head coach John Beilein.
Thanks a lot, Greg. Coach, with everything that took place on Wednesday, with the plane, the adversity, do you see a little extra edge on this team playing right now?
I think that naturally gives you some edge going forward, especially because they've learned about resiliency right now, that you know, things are going to happen to you in your life and you just got to move on. And they moved on. They're playing great basketball. We got a great opponent today. They got to do it again.
Very emotional, though, last few days. Yep. Any concern of fatigue or a letdown?
Well, I think that with three games in 3 days, I mean, at this point of the year, somebody's going to win this tournament, and they're going to either win it with 3 or 4 games in a row. There's not a big difference. After you both are playing 2 games, it's going to be about the same. So you can't even think about it. You just got to we got to sub, we got to do whatever we can. But with all the media timeouts, with all those opportunities, these kids are in great shape. Minnesota, ourselves, superior shape at this time of the year.
What does it come down to today?
Well, last time they beat us, they really beat us off the boards. They really did a great job. They had 17 points just in offensive rebounds. So that's a thing that they do really well. We have to do that, and then executing on offense, we got to continue. We got to score points. We're a much improved defensive team. We're really doing a good job there, right? We still have when we shoot the ball well, we can outscore some people.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much, and good luck. Greg, back to you.
All right, Tracy, thank you. We'll get back to Tracy with more in just a bit. Thus far, we've learned to expect the unexpected for the Wolverines. So what do we expect today?
Well, first of all, kudos to the administration there, Ward, Manuel, the athletic director, everybody involved with that Michigan program, how they handled what transpired, because, you know, teachable and trying times happen on their own terms, and that was something unexpected. They've handled it beautifully. This Michigan team, though, is really a dangerous team because, one, they've started to play really well offensively, and that's the strength of this team, their ability to make it tough for you to guard them. Big guys that go in, outside and inside, shooting, and the leadership and play of Derek Walton Jr. has been exactly how you like to see senior Itis work for you. Driven, focused, and performing at a high level.
Well, first of all, in terms of dealing with what happened with the airplane, I think it's helpful to stay busy, to have, you know, games back-to-back days without time in between to think about it. It's interesting. I was at Michigan's game at Illinois, and Illinois really hammered them pretty good. It was after the game, one of the Illinois players made a comment about, well, Michigan's kind of a white-collar team, and we're more about toughness, and that's been Michigan's mantra since then. At that time, he was right. Today, he'd be wrong. They are so much better on the defensive end. And you hit on the head about Derek Walton Jr.
Yeah.
And we've been watching him now for 3.5 years. The improvement that he's made over the last 4 to 6 weeks, I would not have anticipated. They are a stronger, tougher team, and they can really score the basketball, which in today's college basketball is the asset you need the most to succeed in March.
And it's always interesting to see how adversity, wherever it comes from, might affect a team once it gets out on the court.
No question. I had a coach told me years ago that the teams that work through adversity during the season best are usually your hardest teams to beat come tournament time.
Yeah, the Big Ten sent 7 teams to the tournament last year. Come tomorrow, who's a lock? Which team will miss the field of 68? Need to take stock this offseason? And who is on the bubble? How many do you have going to the tournament?
Well, I like what we got right there. I mean, the 7 are surefire teams that are going to be there and have a chance to do damage. I think Illinois and Iowa come up short.
Iowa's got an interesting case because they do have some good road wins at Maryland, at Wisconsin, although those 2 teams lost to a lot of teams down the stretch. You know, bias and human nature comes into a lot of this. And me personally, Clark, I'm not thrilled when middle-of-the-pack power conference teams get preference over an Illinois State, over a Middle Tennessee, should they need an at-large bid. So I personally wouldn't have room for Iowa. But again, to my point, the fact that they're even in the bubble conversation shows how good this bubble really is.
Good point.
All right, guys, coming up, nothing could be finer than debating who rules Carolina. Are the Blue Devils or Tar Heels the kings of Tobacco Road? The answer when Inside College Basketball, presented by Progressive Insurance, returns.
The Carolina-Duke rivalry. Certainly the best in college basketball and the #1 matchup in any sport.
Brackets are back. Get the CBS Sports app to play with friends and compete for prizes. Download it now to be a part of the action.
And where down we pull on 3, got it. And they are going crazy at Cameron Indoor.
finale for North Carolina last night against Duke. The ceiling and roof was halftime. The Tar Heels were outscored by 17 in the second half as the Blue Devils advanced to the ACC championship game. Carolina has dropped 2 out of 3 to Duke this season. Time now to decide who wins the Battle of Tobacco Road. Clark has the Blue Devils. Seth, take the Tar Heels. Clark.
And I've got the Blue Devils, Greg. Thank you very much. And the sky is the limit for the Blue Devils because they shoot the three-point shot so well, space the floor. A number of guys can knock it down from deep. And because of that, they get offensive rebounds when they need to, and they put a lot of pressure on you defensively because the way they spray it from downtown.
So what you're saying, if I'm hearing you correctly, is the basket is the hoop.
Something like that.
Guess what else, my friend?
Yes.
The glass is the backboard. And there's no team in this tournament in the country that is better at crashing that glass.
You're right.
On the offensive end than the North Carolina Tar Heels, they are getting 42% of their misses. So on those inevitable nights, when those threes are not splashing, the Tar Heels are still eating glass. I think that goes a long way in March, because you know why else, Clark?
What?
The Meeks shall inherit the earth.
Well, when you get 42% of your misses, that means there's a volume of misses to be gotten. So you can overcome being beaten on the glass if you make three-point shots. And also, when you've been hardened by the adversity that Duke has faced this season, it makes you hard to play against and hard to guard. They're hard to guard because they've got inside scoring with the ever healthier Emil Jefferson. They've got a brilliant freshman in Jason Tatum. And again, not only do they shoot the three, Seth, but because they space you out, they can take you off the bounce, and it's hard to be in good defensive position because of their ability to drive it as well.
Well, they are hard to guard, but they are missing something in that lineup, and that is a point guard. And as you well know, the point guard is the floor general. And North Carolina has a great floor general.
He's a good one.
And Joel Berry II, when he's in the game, minor point last night, I think maybe going forward, should he encounter foul trouble and the other team goes on a run, maybe Roy Williams can sneak him back in there for a possession or two. But Joel Berry II, we saw what Marcus Page gave this team last year. I think Berry is actually a better player and a better leader and certainly a better shooter than Marcus Page. He's a guy who can get his own, getting about 16 points a game, 42% from three-point range, over 80% from the foul line, gets rebounds, sets the table. Keep him out of foul trouble, keep him in the game, and that's a big-time advantage that North Carolina has at the most important position on the floor.
Valid points, all well made, no pun intended at the point guard position, but I like the fact both Hall of Fame coaches on these sidelines, but I look at Coach K. He's a master at motivating, and now that he's had this fuel, this season of turbulence and adversity on a number of levels, the health of his team is better, and also the psyche, I think, of his team is better, and he's the master at getting the most out of what he's got. So I like Duke to keep climbing and ascending.
He is definitely masterful. North Carolina also has a Hall of Fame caliber coach. And you want to talk about adversity and having a rebound from something. I don't know anything more difficult as a basketball player than losing the national championship game at the buzzer. And these young men in Chapel Hill have had a long time to think about what happened on that night. I think they're prepared for March. They have depth. They are, as I said, a great rebounding team. And contrary to what my good friend Clark Kellogg has to say, the Carolina Tar Heels will advance farther or further in the tournament. I think it's further, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I'm going to actually throw it across the room to our colleague Greg Gumbel. Take it away.
The host is the most.
It's the most even-keeled conversation these two have had all morning. When we come back, Northern Kentucky is going to the tournament in just their first year of eligibility. The Horizon League champs join us to talk about their incredible journey up next.
Kentucky fans, pack your dancing shoes. For the first time in the Division I era, the Northern Kentucky Norse are going to the NCAA tournament.
Cover every angle of Selection Sunday before and after the field is revealed on NCAA March Madness Bracket Breakdown tomorrow on CBS Sports Network.
Well, the games are played on the court, but the matchups are decided in that room. The selection committee continuing to pore over all the data, all the possibilities to bring the nation the most compelling basketball tournament of the year. The bracket is revealed about 29 hours from now. Last Sunday, we left you with 4 teams in with automatic bids. Between then and now, 9 more schools locked in their plans for the tournament, some in dramatic fashion. Let's get you caught up.
Celebration begins in Charleston. UNCW back-to-back CAA champions, and it goes back to the bench.
And the horn sounds. That's it. The Bucks outduel the Spartans, and ETSU is going dancing for the 10th time in their school's history in the Southern Conference title bout.
The Iona Gales are heading right back to the NCAA tournament. Back-to-back trips for Iona. They are MAC tournament champions.
Northern Kentucky fans, pack your dancing shoes. For the first time in the Division I era, the Northern Kentucky Norse are going to the NCAA tournament. They're dancing on, baby.
Mount St. Mary's is victorious, and the Mounts got the chance to dance. It's on to the NCAA tournament for Mount St. Mary's.
South Dakota State, it is a perfect finish to an imperfect season. South Dakota State has won the Summit League tournament.
And the Gonzaga Bulldogs, for a 5th consecutive year, the 15th time in the last 20 years, are West Coast Conference tournament champions.
Nobody in their seats here at Soika Pavilion. The Bucknell Bison are going back to the NCAA tournament. Bucknell can celebrate all night long.
Plenty of dancing around the country. Here's a look at the teams in the field of 68. Some very familiar names, some not so familiar. And you know, you heard a name like Iona going back again. Eastern Tennessee, been there 9 times. This will be their 10th. Says a lot about the program.
It says an awful lot about the program, and it says a lot about the excitement of this time of year, because that's part of what makes it so magical, is that you see the excitement. You see some of these first-timers making their way to be part of the field of 68, and it's as special as anything that we have on the sports calendar.
I love the conference tournaments. I get the complaint or the argument that maybe it negates the value of the regular season should they send the regular season champ. Look at what's gone on all this week. Hey, the Ivy League is having a semifinal today for the first time. Even they're ready to join the party. Seth, I think it's great.
To your point, I think the conference tournament championships put the madness in March. I mean, it's a wonderful appetizer for what we have starting in just about a week and a half.
I'm ready.
All right, one of those teams is not only making its tournament debut, they're doing so in just their 5th year in Division I basketball. We welcome in the Horizon League champs, the Norse of Northern Kentucky. That's head coach John Brannon and one of his players, Cole Murray. First of all, congratulations to you guys. Coach, this is always a great question for a coach. Every baseball team in spring training thinks they're going to the World Series. Every football team in training camp thinks they're going to the Super Bowl. What was your honest assessment of your team back in the fall when you started?
Well, Greg, we talked about not putting a ceiling or a roof on what we're capable of doing. And, you know, our motto in our program is trust, which is believing and investing in each other without knowing the outcome. So when we invested fully, we let the outcome kind of take care of itself. Did I expect the NCAA tournament bid and Horizon League championship? That was the first goal on the board. And I think as the season went on, it became something that became more and more attainable. It's
always interesting to hear you say that it's a goal, but did you think it was an attainable goal? Did you think it was a realistic one?
You know what? We really live in the process. I know it's coach speak, but we don't get too far ahead of ourselves. Even going into the championship game, we talked about divorcing yourself from the outcome and just focusing on the process of getting better. And as we did that, you know, I told our guys in February that I recognized we had a championship caliber team in January. I let them know in February, and it kind of went from there.
Cole, as one of two seniors on this team, talk about your responsibility and role in helping this team develop and how satisfying it is for you as a senior to be participating in the NCAA tournament next week.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously extremely special, you know, not only for us as a team, but as a community and program as a whole. And, you know, as seniors, we our one job this year was to make sure all the young guys came in ready. You know, we brought in 8 guys who had never stepped foot on a Division I floor before, and so for us was just being the old heads, quote unquote, to be on the team and pass down knowledge and be there to help them with whatever they were going through.
Cole, to that point, you're the only senior in the rotation. Let me see if I've got this now. In your 4 years there, you've had 2 coaches, 2 conferences, 2 different apparel companies, and 2 different court designs. How have you managed to be a force of stability in that program amidst all this change?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, there's a lot there that has changed, a lot that I never thought would change when I originally committed. But I think that speaks to a lot of the character that we have on this team. You know, myself, Dean Danos, and Matt Rosenwinkel as 3 seniors that came in and, you know, just wanted to be here for this university. We loved everything about the university, and it just shows how committed and dedicated we are to this place as a whole. And to see it pay off in this way is extremely special.
Coach Brannon, have you heard from any folks that you hadn't heard from in a while as you've reached this point of success?
You know what, Clark, it's a common question I've got the last few weeks, and I think the few have reached out, but it's the people that have really gotten you here that have reached out. You know, Coach Grant, Anthony Grant, who I worked with, he walked off the floor. The Thunder lost the other night, and he called and said, hey, listen, I'm smiling despite a loss. I'm excited for you. It's those calls and those text messages you get that, you know, make you realize you've achieved something, and certainly really proud of our coaching staff and our players, but nobody extra special stepped out of the woodworks yet. I guess we got to win an NCAA tournament game for that.
Well, that might be to come. Hey, Coach, I'm sorry if I'm putting you on the spot here, but you got to help us out. Let's get this out of the way. What exactly is a Norse, and is it plural or singular? Help me out, please, as a writer.
Seth, I knew that question would come from you, so I was prepared a little bit for him. It's a Scandinavian Viking, and I have no idea the answer to the second part of your question.
It's a Scandinavian Viking, so maybe it is singular. So we say the Norse is an underdog in the game.
You can figure that out,
like
Seth.
the Cardinal. We don't say the Cardinal are. It's Scandinavian. I'm writing it down here, Coach. Thank you for that.
Hey, Cole, let me ask you. You always hear about other teams talking about the experience they had last year or the year before. You guys have nothing to go off of. This is going to be your first ever shot. How do you think your guys are going to come out for their first NCAA tournament game?
I think we'll come out extremely ready. I think a lot of that's going to be our preparation through this next week. You know, our coaches have put us in a great position all year. No matter who we're playing, no matter where we play, we're always ready. And as a team, we come in with a faceless opponent every game. It doesn't matter who we're playing. You know, we come in, do the same stuff every day, and that's helped us be successful at this point. So I don't see anything changing at this point.
We are looking forward to seeing tomorrow where you guys go, and then looking forward to watching you guys in action next week. Thank you very much for your time, and congratulations to you and the Norses, Seth. Thank you, guys. Congratulations to you.
Guys.
Thank you.
Here now, another edition of Infinity's Hardwood Heroes.
Help Infinity fight cancer and make your bracket matter.
Seconds left. Marcus has Williams on him, shoots a deep 3. It is good. Jordan's going to launch a deep 3. It's good. It's a 3-point game. Marshall launches a 3 for the wing. He banked it in. It's a tie game. And we've got overtime here in the pick tonight. Drew throws it into Caroline. Jordan makes the catch. Down the left side. Caroline against Williams. 3 ball on the way. It is good. The Lobos were up 25. And Nevada comes back and they win it
Certainly one of the more improbable comebacks you will ever see. You will see the Wolfpack later today here on CBS when they take on Colorado State in the Mountain West Championship game. For Nevada's Marcus Marshall, it's been a long road to finally reach true March Madness. In a mutual decision, Marshall left Missouri State in January of 2015 after being suspended for conduct detrimental to the team. After sitting out a year, he was given a second chance when Eric Musselman was hired by the Wolfpack and made Marshall his first recruit. That trust has paid dividends.
Everything happens for a reason. Marcus came here for a reason. Any game we go into, we expect to win that game and we expect to play hard. And when you got a guy like Marcus on the team, you feel unstoppable.
You can't create a star. Stars are born. People that know him since he was small, they're not surprised at what they're seeing today. This was expected for him to be here and doing what he does. When he decided to leave Missouri State, it was a little scary, because, we didn't know exactly what to expect.
What really played a huge role in that was Coach Musselman, just him telling me, like, I'm going to bring some pieces in, like, we're going to compete next year, like, I'm going to turn this program around.
To know that you were going to be a sit one, play one, we had to try to sell a vision to him when maybe a vision didn't seem possible, and I think it shows the confidence that he has in himself that he could be a big part to lead us into some type of meaningful games down the stretch.
I took advantage of that year off as far as just getting in the gym and working on my game and working on, my weaknesses and things like that.
As soon as Marcus came in, he was dominating. Like, he was hitting our game winners, and he was, hitting shots that you would not think somebody could make. He just changed our whole culture.
Marcus Marshall is explosive.
I was always that guy that kind of had to lead by example.
Marshall.
You got to take pride in that leadership role.
You bet.
A lot of things, it falls on your shoulders, and I feel like I take pride in that, and I have been for many years of my life.
When we were playing against New Mexico, we were getting crushed. Marcus, at the end of the game, he was hitting these shots like crazy.
He came out and started banging shots.
But they were back-to-back-to-back threes.
He baked it in! It's a tie game! 8 seconds left!
He's a big-time shot maker and a clutch shooter.
From down 25 in the second half, Nevada comes back and they win it.
When the game was over, I knew that it was a comeback for the ages and a comeback that probably I'll never be involved in anything like that again the rest of my life. And certainly most of our players will never be involved in that. And I think that just gained confidence for the rest of the season.
I'm actually definitely focused on just the ultimate goal, and that's to win the Mountain West. And just make the NCAA tournament. I'm a senior, and I've never been to a tournament before, and it'll be great for me to, in my last year of college, making the NCAA tournament.
Nevada has always been the underdogs compared to other teams. We don't get a lot of respect, but we stay confident.
This is what we pretty much worked all spring, all summer, all fall for, and now it's here, and we just got to take advantage of it. This has always been our goal since the beginning of the season, and we just want to keep this train moving.
At his previous school, Marcus knocked heads with his former head coach at Missouri State, and you can argue the rightness and wrongness of that, or whether he should have or shouldn't have, but this is a fact. Often a change of scenery and a change of venue can do an athlete a world of good.
Without question, Greg, and you never know the full circumstances, and sometimes you just need a change of pace, and he's been phenomenal. He leads 4 double-digit scores for Nevada. The Wolfpack average 80 points a game, make threes, and in the last meeting, Cameron Oliver went for 29 and 17. The player I want you to focus in on, though, for Colorado State, Jan Clavel, is terrific. Excellent defender, wiry, athletic, explosive player. and does a little bit of everything. I mean, he's a hard guy to take your eyes off of when you watch the Rams because he's so involved in everything. But I like the offensive firepower of Nevada to prevail.
Yeah, been a little bit of a different season than we're used to in the Mountain West because the traditional powers in that league in San Diego State and New Mexico were not at the top of the standings the way Nevada has been. Nevada's been the best team all season long. And remember now, Colorado State's coach, Larry Eustace, used to coach at Iowa State, Coach Marcus Pfizer there when they went to an Elite Eight. They're a very strong rebounding team, but Nevada really got them on the backboards in that game. Got 11 offensive rebounds, only played once. It was in Reno, and Nevada won. Colorado State has the best rebounder in the league, but they're going to have to tighten up on the glass if they're going to want to win this game today and get to the NCAA tournament.
All right, guys, we are getting a bit closer to tip time out in Washington, D.C. Tracy Wolfson caught up with Minnesota head coach Richard Pitino a short while ago.
Thanks, Greg. Coach, let me start with Akeem Springs. You lose him yesterday to the Achilles injury. How difficult is he to replace?
Pretty challenging because we don't have a lot of depth in the backcourt, and we had a really nice rotation going with bring Dupree McBair off the bench, and we were able to spell Nate Mason a little bit, so it really hurts us. I'm not going to act like it doesn't, but we just need somebody else to step up, you know, and then when we get a chance where we get a little downtime where we could practice, we'll be able to figure a couple things out. So we're gonna have to go on the fly a little bit. Feel bad for Akeem as a kid. He's a terrific leader, a great person, really changed our locker room in a very positive way.
You face this Michigan team in overtime. You beat them, but still, both of you guys are both playing extremely well down the stretch here. So what do you think this comes down to?
Well, they're obviously a talented team, a well-coached team. You know, our game was a terrific game. We got to the foul line a lot. They're a lot tougher than they get credit for. They're a very good defensive team. I mean, everybody talks about their offense and their versatility, which they have. So it's going to be a typical battle where we've got to make sure we don't take a step back in our toughness. I thought we were really tough yesterday. We got to make sure that we're ready to go right from the jump. The three-point line is so important when you play them. They shoot a lot of jump shots. They run a lot of great stuff. So we got to be alert. We got to contest everything. We got to come back and rebound the ball.
Appreciate the time. Good luck.
Thank you.
Greg, back to you.
Tracy, thank you. Tracy's got a busy day up ahead. Coming up, we'll have more and a very special story on its way. Yeah, we will. Who's out? Who's playing whom and when? Get it first, get it right on the NCAA Basketball Championship Selection Show exclusively here on CBS Live tomorrow at a special time, 5:30 p.m. Eastern, on the road to the Final Four. Clark.
Thank you, Greg. By the end of tomorrow night, we will all know the best 68 teams in the NCAA Men's NCAA Tournament. But a fifth-grade youth team in Clark, New Jersey, has just completed a journey that defines not only the true meaning of team, but more importantly, reminded us all how important it is to be a teammate.
I like sports because it's fun, it's challenging. I play sports because I like it. Because it actually gives us something to do after school and not just like sit around at home doing nothing.
It gives you a lot of activity, it helps your health, and it's just fun to do with your friends.
What I like about sports is that we all get to be together.
It's like your family sports because you're always with them at school, at practice, at games. It is a lot more fun to play with a team than just by yourself.
Sports prepare us for life. Sometimes those life lessons come early.
The Archdiocese of Newark hit co-ed team was out of bounds.
The young basketball players were told that 2 of their members couldn't play because they are girls.
Last month, 2 female members of a 5th-grade co-ed youth team in Clark, New Jersey, were told they could no longer play with their male teammates. The fallout of a pending lawsuit in a neighboring town was the reason. The Archdiocese of Newark, New Jersey was calling for an immediate end to mixed-gender play until the matter was resolved.
I have been playing with the St. John's Chargers boys team for 4 years.
Since 2nd grade.
4 years. It's like, boom, it just hits you, and it's like, it's not ever gonna go away.
I was really upset and I was crying.
Something that you can't explain with words.
It's not really fair when that happened.
Sometimes the best of sport doesn't just build character, it reveals it.
We decided that if the girls can't play,
we won't play either.
Is your decision to play the game without the two young ladies on the team,
No one voted that we could continue without the girls.
or to stay as a team as you played all season with the girls on the team? Show hands, stay on the play as a team. Show hands, play without the girls.
I didn't really know that was going to happen. They stood up for us and said that they wouldn't move on without me and the other girl.
When like two people go down, then we all go down because it's all about teamwork.
The team made a stand by sitting out, and a voice was delivered without saying a word.
The team voted to forfeit the rest of the season.
They would play together or not at all.
A remarkable lesson in team unity.
It made everyone feel like a family, and that's the moment we all came together.
The powerful message of unity was heard by the adults supervising the league, and the ban was overturned. The St. John CYO team would finish the season together.
But we're playing again. Our team stayed together and we didn't move on without our teammates.
It felt really good, and I was so happy. My team and we did something good, and it had an impact on people across the United States. Because you're a team, and teams don't split apart. We all came out together as a team. It's all about team. It's all about team.
It's all about team.
It's all about team.
St. John's won the 5th grade CYO championship this morning, a well-deserved ending to an unbelievable season for these boys and girls. There are so many lessons, Clark and Seth, to be learned from this whole thing, not the least of which that there are some idiots in high-level places who prevent stumbling blocks, and the level of maturity exhibited by these kids is remarkable.
Well, you know, sports has been a huge part of my life for all of my life, and I've seen the benefits directly and even through our children, our 3 children. And for me, it's about the selflessness that's engendered when you're involved in team sports or activities. And that's kind of what resonated with me. Team superseded individuals.
We're both sports dads. Your kids are older and more talented than mine, I might add.
Just older.
But, you know, I've often said, Greg, to your point, that if I ever wrote a book about youth sports, the title would be The Grown-Ups Ruin Everything. Kids are smarter than grown-ups, and kids get it and understand these lessons on a level that oftentimes we adults, because we know too much, or we think we know too much. So I thank these kids for showing us the way as the grown-ups, and I'm hoping that in this venue and in all youth sports venue, the grown-ups follow the kids' lead more often than vice versa.
Just amazing. Just to a man, everybody held up their hand in support of not playing further unless the 2 young ladies were a part of it. We'll be back in a moment to wrap things up, get you ready for Michigan and Minnesota. Don't go away. Inside College Basketball, presented by Progressive Insurance, is sponsored by Progressive, making it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. There's Minnesota guard Amir Coffey. He's been a key contributor to the Golden Gophers' success this season. It's earned him a spot on the Big Ten All-Freshman team. And Michigan junior forward DJ Wilson led the way yesterday with 26 points, 8 rebounds in the Wolverines' overtime win over Purdue. Let's update you on what's happening in the America East Conference Championship between Albany and Vermont. Seth.
Yeah, the Catamounts of Vermont have not lost a game all season long. Is today going to be the first going down to the wire? That's Travis Charles for Albany, makes the and one, puts them up by 7. David Nichols for Albany with the finish, but Vermont coming back. Kurt Steidl knocking down a 3. Down the stretch they come. We got us a humdinger in the American East. Only one's going to go.
You know, the one thing you mentioned just prior to us coming back from commercial, Albany, it's got a little pedigree. About this time of year, some of the familiar names keep popping.
Exactly, and you can't ever discount that, the experience of being in the tournament. And I think oftentimes the pressure goes on to the favorite because you're expected to win, and sometimes you can play a little tight. Let's see if the Catamounts can get to the finish line first.
Which is why when we talk to the guys in Northern Kentucky, can you imagine the pressure going into your very first tournament game representing the school's first appearance?
Yeah, you know what? That is an interesting pressure, but also there's a of freedom, I think, that can come with that if you just let it happen. And they seem to be locked into embracing the process. I don't expect that team to be nervous when they take the floor in their first matchup.
A 16 beating a 1 in the NCAA tournament is the last thing in sports that hasn't happened. And it's only a matter of time before it does. As my friend wisely says, history, what is it? History
repeats itself until it doesn't, but we're not going to see that one.
You're not on record?
I'm on record. We're not going to see that 16-1
really going
upset.
in there.
As long as you and I are working here, we're not going to see it.
We have this argument all the time. It's going to happen, but you're right. We're not.
He's saying never. No, hold on. He didn't say just this year.
I'm not going to see it. We're not going to see it.
Ever?
What are you, 47, 48?
46?
40, okay, whatever the number is. We're not going to see it. You're not going to see
30 years.
And mortality rates
in the next 40 years is not going to happen? Come on.
35 at least.
Tell me about
Can we still be here?
Tell me about Michigan and Minnesota. What do we expect out of this game?
Well, I expect Michigan to be defended as well as it's been defended all season long. That's what Minnesota does the best. This is a tough team, and they were excellent when they beat Michigan at home in overtime. They dominated them on the free throw line, 28-9. Nate Mason has to shoot the ball better, but I think Minnesota is going to bring the lumber on the defensive end and somehow, some way, scratch and claw and find out a way to
My late dad said, good big, when all things are equal, beats good little. Well, good offense trumps good defense. I like the Wolverines' offensive ability, and for that reason, the Wolverines play in the championship game tomorrow.
You know, you're the first one I'm going to when a 16 beats a 1. You know that.
I know.
I won't be here, though. I won't be here.
Strong, absolutely. Yeah, you
Oh, we're
right
just
here.
about at game time out in Washington, D.C. We'll see you back here at halftime. It is Michigan and Minnesota. The start of a big day here on CBS, the first Big Ten semifinal. It comes your way here on CBS after this message and a word from your local station.